Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Yesterday I said, hopefully by now I'd be able to talk about the Bears winning, or I'd know whether the Bears had fielded an offense. And silly me, I had failed to account for the fact that the Bears were playing Monday Night Football. So now I can say it again. Hope that by the time you hear this, that the Bears have sort of turned things around. But we're not talking about the Bears. We're talking about Hebrews chapter 13. We are, last time we were looking at there was some implications about food, but I was talking specifically about the contrast between a lot of the ways that people think about moving forward with the stability of Jesus, that he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that we need to lean into the kind of, especially in a world that is changing so quickly, we need to lean into the wisdom and the depth, the density of Jesus Christ in all those good ways. So food issues come up again in the passage that we're going to look at. I said yesterday that food issues don't really, we don't have food issues today. Of course we do. There's lots of talk about food and about diets, but it's not, was the meat that you're eating sacrificed to idols? It's, are you a vegan or a vegetarian, or, should you be gluten-free, or the South Beach diet, well, Atkins diet, all these different kind of paleo diets and other things that occupy a lot of space. And then I suppose in different conversations, who's got the best burgers, or which Chicago restaurant has the best pizza. So there's a lot to talk about food, but the conversations that I'm going to read about here are what food helps you. They were asking what food helps you please God. How do we get right with God based on what we eat or don't eat? And again, the book of Hebrews is written to say, no, that's not how it works. It's about Jesus. It is about all that Jesus has done. So let me read here, Hebrews chapter 13, beginning with verse 9. Don't be led astray by various kinds of strange teachings, for it is good for the heart to be established by grace and not by food regulations, since those who observe them have not benefited. We have an altar from which those who worship at the tabernacle do not have a right to eat. So there was a charge that Christians did not have any kind of altar, and the implication is they didn't have anybody atoning for their sins. And so the Jews, of course, had an altar in the temple, and other religions had lots of altars. And so he says, we have an altar from which those who worship at the tabernacle do not have a right to eat, right? They can't come to our altar. For the bodies of those animals whose blood is brought into the most holy place by the high priest as a sin offering are burned outside of the camp. So he's saying that they would bring these animals, this is the Jewish faith, they would bring these animals into the tabernacle, the temple, and the animals would be sacrificed. And then what wasn't completely consumed at the altar, because that was more ceremonial, was taken outside. Some of it was eaten, but then some of it, what was left over, was taken outside the camp. And this means this is the worst place. This is the dump. This is the place of where dead bodies are thrown. This is a bad place. Gehenna is actually the term. And Jesus will use that term for hell. So it's a bad place. But they take it and burned outside the camp. Therefore, Jesus also suffered outside the gate. So here's a very big point. Jesus was crucified outside of the gate. And so this was a place that was despised, so that he might sanctify the people by his own blood. Let us then go to him outside the camp, bearing his disgrace, for we do not have an enduring city here. Instead, we seek one to come. So it's just talking again about how Jesus suffered for us, and we should not be embarrassed to identify with the one who went outside the gate to suffer on our behalf. It's not about what you eat. It's not about, we would change it. It's about whether you've been baptized, or you go to church, or you give money, all these things. Man is religious. We're always trying to come up with rules. And what we're celebrating here in the book of Hebrews is that Jesus actually secured for us everything that needs to be secured, paying the penalty for our sins and transferring his righteousness to us. So, again, in the book of Hebrews, we are celebrating Jesus, who he is, and what he did on our behalf. Have a good day.